Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah, I'm a stand-up comedian here in the United States. I also am a landlord, which I kind of giggle because uh, this tenant that I have is like the kind of salary he makes is just ridiculous. Like he's, I'm not saying that he's like one of those Russian oligarchs with a yacht, but he's I think a good person with that kind of life. So he rents my apartment in the city in New York City as a little crash pad. Like it's cheaper than having a hotel. I don't understand how that's possible, but I guess when you're that wealthy, you just want a place you can crash, once or twice a week regularly. So, like, so it's funny when I live this funny life as a comedian. I'm grateful to do it, but there's just in New York City, there's just so many layers of kinds of people, and everyone's hustling. And I'm running into people that hustle in a whole other different. I just kind of laugh, thinking, yeah, there's lots
Uh,
of one percenters. I've met them.
what do you think about some people? They say you shouldn't buy a house because at the end it's going to go to the government, like in the long run. Like you will die or your kids will die, and then the government will own it at the end. And they say, better
Oh,
you should rent.
does that happen in Yemen? I don't. That doesn't happen here. Well, I guess it will be taken by the government or the banks if you don't pay the mortgage off.
No, no, no. I mean, after you die, who will take it, for example?
Oh, it depends on who I leave it to. Either a family member or a partner or friends, or I could say this has to be sold at market value, and I'll let this friend determine that, and they divide the assets amongst whoever I name. I
Okay.
mean, you make it sound like I'm like Bill Gates and
Okay.
or Jeff Bezos, and my empire must be distributed.
Can I tell you something weird and funny, maybe? So in Yemen, if you have a land, you have to build it and leave, or you have to build it and rent it. Because if you don't do that, some like Arabs that lives in the desert still live in the desert, and some gangs will come and just take it with tenant and guns. And you have and the only way the government never get involved with this kind of things. The government tell you you are an asshole. Why you didn't build it? You know the situation. The only way to take them out is to bring your gangs and you start war with guns. And sometimes
That sounds a lot more dramatic than tenant court. Here we have a lot of legal debate. I mean, but in my family in the Philippines, if my parents were poor, but they had pieces of land because for hundreds of years they've
yeah.
lived growing bananas on this land, but they own this land, and so when my grandmother died, uh, there was this leftover piece of land, and they were poor, but they had land, and somehow this little road became, this is what 40 years later, or 56, 60 years later, a highway, and then on this highway they wanted to build a casino.
Oh my God. Okay.
So so then the funny thing is though, like my dad was saying, if there's this little tiny piece of land left, right? And if my dad dies, he will leave it to me and to my brother. But I'm like, I don't understand how it works in the Philippines. The last time my dad went to the Philippines, because one relative was, in the Philippines, it's totally, I mean, not that it's normal in America, but I guess it's
Yeah.
it's more common in the Philippines to just bribe as many judges and officials that you want. So this other relative or in-law was bribing people to press charges against my dad that weren't true. But if you don't show up in court to say that these aren't true and prove that they're not true, then you're just banned from the country. So my dad had to fly back to the Philippines, and then he had to ask like a cousin who was in the military for a military escort at the airport to pick him up in the plane, not like at the airport, but come in up the steps to the plane and take my dad to court, directly to court, because he was afraid he would get killed. Like by my crazy uncle in guy who married a relative. I guess he's an uncle-in-law, but just like mentally unstable. And so if a person's mentally unstable, but they're not bedridden, they could do crazy stuff in the Philippines, and no one could stop them.
Wow.
So it's not quite like gangs and shooting, but it's more bribes and maybe shooting. So also this little piece of land, if people squat on it in the Philippines, they can take the land. You can't just not evict people. You have to guard the land, even if it's just an open plot of land. Someone could just start building a little shanty town on it, and you can't you
Yeah.
can't you know so I mean, I understand both sides. Like, there are people that don't have places to live, and so if this is an open piece of land and they just start living on it, I get it. But it is sort of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you think of where my family came from, they've lived there for whatever until the
Yeah.
casino came.
Yeah.
But there's always someone more poor than I am, and there's always someone more wealthy than I am. So
Yeah.
you know, but
Yeah.
I'm a fortunate person to be doing comedy and doing it the way I'm doing it, and I sell enough tickets that I can still support myself to do what I do. I'm not, uh, I don't know, I'm not like a Beyonce or something. I'm just walking around
That's-
throwing cash. I'm definitely Chinese takeout is my big splurge, but I can do things that I enjoy doing. I don't have some
yeah.
desk job. I mean, being a landlord is a responsibility, but a lot of times it's just getting a plumber or getting technicians to fix things. And then while I've also, like, after the last tenant, I repainted and replaced shelves, redid some plumbing, or little some basic stuff. But the thing is, when I was a kid, my parents came to America, and my dad was an engineer, my mom was a doctor, but they also did these flip. It's called flipping. I don't know if that even exists in Yemen, but you buy an old house and then you fix it up, you rent it, and then
Oh,
you flip it.
okay.
But in my town, when I was a kid, they were buying a house $5,000. I mean, it's a small town. Little, these are not, five, ten
Yeah.
thousand, and then we would, there was one house that had a fire in it, and so we
Whoa.
spent my entire. It didn't burn down, but it had a fire. Right, it was damaged. So we spent the whole summer fixing the whole house. Painting, getting rid of the ash and the soot, putting new walls, putting electricity, all that. But they only sold it for like $10,000 more. I mean, so it was kind of like, did we make any money? No, we spent the whole summer. Like, my parents would work and then they get off, and I'd be there all summer. I'm in sixth grade, fifth grade. I'm a kid, holding things.
Yeah, you don't want to be entrepreneur where you make money less than salary. Like some people that, oh, it's I do my own business, but then you are not even being able to pay rent. But I mean, like, if someone is doing like, and he believes that he wants to grow it, like maybe your dad, he saw himself like starting from small amount to become like the richest real estate flipper in the
Yeah,
US. Maybe he
right,
had a
right.
dream. So
But you need to be flipping in a place that's like has a higher amount of the change in price. If it's only going up,
oh, that's
you know,
smart. Yeah.
but so since I'm here in New York, I came years ago when it was I bought a place that was no one wanted to be around this area. It smelled really bad. In fact, my parents, when they came, they're like, "Why did you buy here? It smells like the Philippines." It's very dirty part of New York. But because it was that dirty, it was cheap, so I could get a little place. And then when I was painting my apartment,
Yeah.
I remember looking out the window, and there were all these diplomatic vehicles going by right in front of my window. And I look out, and it's Bill Clinton
Oh.
going to have dinner just across the street and a little bit to the side from where I live. I mean, literally. I mean, I could. I mean, if I was a sniper, I guess I could have. I didn't know which car was him. But I just heard from everyone like, "Oh my God, Bill Clinton is eating at that restaurant, that new restaurant that just opened." It's not even there now because it's like an Apple store. But the area started to change, and it got trendy, and then all of a sudden everyone wanted to live there. So then the market values of
Oh,
everything tripled, quadrupled, like five times the amount, six times the amount of what it was. So I mean but that's also Manhattan. I lucked out that I there was like the economy kind of slowed down, and I bought in a really bad area that became good. Because sometimes people buy in a bad area that stays a bad area. So I've had friends in that neighborhood when I was, you know, in fact, there were people in my building that got beat up on the street when I was still living there. So it wasn't nice initially, right? But it got nicer,
mm.
in the last 10, oh my God, 20 years. Oh yeah, 20, 22 years later, it's amazing. So who knew I'd be a comedian living off of that, you
Yeah.
know?
It's crazy because also in Yemen, there is something similar. They used to give the girls, the daughters, lands that's far away from the village. And they used to give their sons close lands. They prefer the man to be close. It's like Milazim country.
Right.
So when the city was built, the city was far away from the village, the capital. So the girls, the real estate increased more. Did you get it?
Oh, so as the city grew, suddenly their property became more valuable?
No, I mean, like, so they live in the village. Let's say the village is 15 kilometers away. And they used to give the daughters lands, like if a father has lands, he give his daughters lands that's like 15 kilometers away from the village. But they give their sons lands that's close to the village. So
Right, right.
they prefer their sons because, like, when they have married, they will have kids, and the kids will belong to the family, the name
Oh,
of the family. But their daughters, they will marry someone else, so they give them far away. But then the
yeah.
city was built far away, like 15 kilometers away.
Oh, so then they ended up being in the best spot.
So the girls ended up being rich. you
Oh,
know?
wow.
And then their husbands, like, if they stay together, they will be rich with them. If they divorce them, then maybe their brother will take it. Anyway, you are like girls, you will end up losers. So, but that's like,
Oh, right. Women couldn't keep Oh my God.
but
Wow.
I don't know, like, I feel that there are two people who makes win with the changes. There are the people who are in it, they use it like it's their work, it's their life. They are always watching the market. They are like always watching the wind. How is the wind? Is it
Right,
going like like the weather, when you see the weather, how it's going to be. But some people
right,
try to even be the before. The faster
right, right.
you censor things, and it's also risky, but there is high return. And there is the people who are like your parents or you, like you get just lucky or you work all the
Right, right. I'm not sitting here like watching all day long to see what the market does. I was like, well, this is the cheapest thing I could buy in New York City at the time. It's not the best neighborhood, but it's close to some subways. And for me, I'm like, I'm a guy. I'm not afraid to be in or at least I didn't think I was afraid to be in a bad neighborhood.
yeah,
Whereas,
yeah,
maybe women wouldn't want to hang out in my neighborhood at night.
yeah.
But now it's like so popular. That one of the characters from Sex and the City, there's Samantha. I don't know. Do you know Sex and the City? Are you allowed to have Sex and the City on TV in
No.
Yemen? No. Do you know that show? Have you ever seen that show?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh my God. Well, Sex and the City is women that are in New York following their dreams, but one is very has sex with a lot of men. I mean, there's nothing. They would call, in America it's called slutty. In Yemen that would be called stoned to death, I guess. But she was a very adventurous woman, but her character lived in a loft, maybe a block away from where my apartment is. And so everyone's like, "Oh, you live near Samantha, the slutty woman, in the show." But I mean, I don't know if you'd say slut. I guess I'm slut shaming her now by saying that. But in those days, when it was the movie first came out, or the TV series came out,
Yeah.
everyone thought of her as like the most racy, most sexually liberated of all the characters. And in your
Yeah.
country, this show would be banned. I mean, they're just women walking around
You
living.
know, so I grew up in Yemen, which is I was like far behind, like 150 years ago before people. And now I'm trying to be 150 years ahead from the US with I'm questioning. So now I'm gonna ask you,
Yeah.
why would this woman be stoned in Yemen, which is this is like too far. We don't want to even talk about it. But in the US, why would she be called slutty? Like
Because she would be called slutty because she was having sex with men and she wasn't married. I mean,
I mean, like, why, like, for example, why do we look to porn stars or to people who does porn or people who fuck so much? I mean, like, I feel that there is nothing wrong with, like, why are they being underrated or being
well,
looked differently?
it's what's interesting is that there's a double standard here in America too, because that woman who they call slutty is sleeping with other men, and why aren't those men slutty? Like they're not
Oh,
considered.
that's even weirder.
Right? But it's this
Oh,
double
yeah.
standard that women are supposed to always be virgins when they're married, or the ideal is that they haven't really had sex with a lot of people, a lot of or men, assuming men. It's also it's a very heteronormative expectation that women will be with men and men will be with women. That's a whole other
Yeah.
layer. But um, yeah, but also people envy the Samantha character. I'm making her the examples because she's so free. She can do whatever she
Yeah,
wants.
they
She
are
makes lots of
jealous.
money. She had this career where she made money. She had a beautiful, big, loft apartment in the meatpacking district, and she was empowered. And so it was like the first. This is the first. This I don't want to say this is the first TV show, but it's a TV show where women, weren't slut shamed for being that.
Oh, so she
But
was like hero, huh? The
yeah,
first
she's a
one.
hero. But people would still say, "Oh, she's the slutty one," because it was like the late '80s, early '90s, or I guess late '90s, right? Yeah, no, oh my God, late '80s, '90s when they came out, and up till 2000, and later into 2000s, that uh, that would be considered. Today we'd look back at that and go, "Oh my God, there's so many problems." The show was all white. The show
Yeah.
was still very cis oriented, and there was no other races in it. There were no other voices that represented. So it has the new one, which I haven't seen. I heard is very diverse. There's other people of color suddenly on the show, but yeah, I mean, I guess I'm trying to imagine like the world you're in. Now, where do you live now? Are you
Cyprus.
still where?
Do you know what is Cyprus?
Cyprus. Oh, so you're not in Yemen now. You're
No. So I would describe Cyprus, and that's like funny how my life is going. So I would describe Cyprus in the middle between Yemen and America as culture and ideas, like and
oh,
people.
okay.
So I feel like also rules, um, the police, how the country is run. Like it's not war or messy as Yemen. Like in Yemen, there is nothing.
Right, right.
And here they are like medium. So yeah, that's Cyprus. That's how I
So you're on that little island. I mean, I was just watching. You know,
beautiful. One of the most beautiful places in Earth, I think.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I was watching. It was about Caesar and the Roman Empire, and then also looking at Istanbul and sort of watching the Ottoman Empire and how all these different cultures were. I mean, it's very it's hundreds of thousands of years ago, but to watch how different areas lands were sieged, and so I'm sort of like, oh, I know that that area. That was you weren't you weren't under Cleopatra, but there was a period where uh, Anthony and Cleopatra. I'm just looking at all this sort of history. But so, how did you end up in Cyprus from Yemen? You grew up in Yemen, then you moved to Cyprus.
Okay, so um, I was in Yemen, and my father was like a mosque leader. Like my father, he is the one who used to go every Friday and say to people, don't go to Cyprus, don't go to America, don't go to Canada, you know. He would say, don't go to, only go to Saudi Arabia if you want to go for tourists or if you want to think about leaving Yemen. Not even other Arab countries. But the war happened in Yemen, and you know the difference between Shia and Sunni, and so my
I mean,
dad
not
was.
well, but I know that they're fighting.
So yeah, so my dad was from the Sunni, and the Shia take over the city, so we had to leave. And that's like the problem, how ideas makes people go crazy. So like we had to leave the city, and we went to Saudi. There they treat people like camels. You cannot own anything. Like you are from Philippines and you own house in the US by your name.
Right, right, right.
If you are in Saudi, it must be under American name. So all the Yemeni people in Saudi, they own houses by someone who they trust. They are like, I trust you, my brother. Okay, I'm gonna do it. And you can't. Oh, if you make thousands of money, if you own billions, if you are from Yemen, there is no way. And they attract people with ideas. There are two, most Yemenis are in Saudi. Like my uncle, he worked for one of the uh, princes. Okay. He been working for 20 years, and he has hundreds of thousands, but it's all in the prince's bank account. In his bank account, he is only allowed to have $10,000. If he has more than $10,000, they will catch him because they tell him your salary is 1,500. That's what you are getting paid, and that's what the prince is allowed to pay him. But he's making another businesses because he's been there for 20 years. He has other business, but it's all under the people from Saudi names. It's like slavery.
Wow.
So my mom, she's a little bit like, and you cannot go to school. Like if you are from Yemen, they don't let you in their schools. There is no universities. There is no universities for Yemenis people there. Like there is no high school is the best education you can get. Anyway, I can write a book about it, but
Wow.
then
So wait. So how did you? So you left, and so did you? Were you able to get an education? I mean, you speak English pretty well. Like, how did you?
well, I do this in my jokes. Like I went to university with, I don't know, like could be like a little bit fake high school degree. That's why I'm trying to do comedy. It has to work out because I finished now university and I work online. And
And so comedy's your only hope.
I don't know what to do. Like, I feel like I always was like when I used to do even presentations at university, never been taken serious. Like, it's the most, like, I never bomb in my presentations. They would laugh every time when we have presentation in the class. Like, I had one presentation and we had to talk about companies ethics. We have to big. So I didn't know what the teacher want. I bring caged chicken and uncaged chicken. And the teacher is like, what's the ethic? I said, don't fuck with the chickens. Not you, not the companies. That's it. And also like when I put the photos of the chicken in word in the presentation, I fuck up the size, and when I open it in the room in the university, I got scared from my chicken. I was like, "What? This is dinosaur." And also, it's like we had class how to work, how to use Microsoft, and I didn't know how to switch on the computer. I said to the teacher, I don't know how to, I know how to use commands, but not computers. Anyway,
computers.
so like for me, I always try to figure it out. Like I cheated on most exams, and also my English is like this because I practice every day. I try to do like maybe 5 open mics. My girl, she is Canadian, and when the lockdown happened, we lived together. So she used to make me read her stories before bed, and we talk all the time in English. So it's like it's practice. Like if you bring someone who is like boxer for 10 years, but he's not active the last 2 years or 1 year, and you bring boxer that he been active the last 1 year or 2 years, he will be more sharp. So I'm always
Right,
active,
right,
you know.
right,
Uh,
right,
yeah, so I told you when we were in Saudi, my mom, she had the feeling that she doesn't want her kids to live there. Like she get like she's like I don't know, it's like sometimes you feel it, the mom feeling. So
right, right,
we went to Malaysia. They didn't give us visa because we are from Yemen. We tried Jordan. They don't give us visa because we are from Yemen. And my dad, he had 500,000, but in Yemen, we don't have banks or tax. So as much if you make one, if you are 1 billion, you have money in Yemen, it's like black money in the world because we are not keeping up with the world. Eight years there is war, and before the war it's crazy. So my dad, he put his money under someone from Saudi name in the bank because my dad, his money is black, considered as black, but he had honey shop. You remember? I
right, 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 right.
so he couldn't put the cash in his bank account because also when you are from Yemen, you are from high risk country, so banks here doesn't open. Anyway, long story short, we Cyprus was the only country that because there is a big money laundry that you can like put your make your money legal here, and we bought house, and then we end up in Cyprus, but then the family just gets like broke. We couldn't handle it here in Cyprus, my mom and dad. So my dad went back and he lost everything. And he
Oh
married
my God.
virgin, another virgin, like young
He
woman.
divorced. He divorced your mom, and then got a, or he could just marry more than one woman.
When we come in Cyprus, my mom wanted us like to wear pants. My dad say no, we cannot wear pants. Like my dad is old school. He believed that we shouldn't wear like infidels. We should wear like,
So
anyway.
what do you? What is it? I mean, in Egypt it's the galabeya, but what is it called in the
So
robe?
yeah, robe, thawb. So
Okay.
the first time I wear like infidels clothes, I was like I think 17, and I couldn't go out to the street. Like I felt naked, like weird, and my balls are like, what the fuck is going on? We are not used to this. So
Yeah.
anyway, so my mom wanted us to go to the uni. My dad is like, oh, don't share photos in Facebook. Don't add infidels in Facebook. Don't. I don't know. It was just horrible. So the problem with my mom as well. My mom, she tried to
Wait, you're talking to me. I'm an American and I'm gay. Is that like how much more infidel can I be?
That's why I love to talk to you now because that was like how I grew up. So I'm very interested to have people like you and just yeah.
Okay, because I'm like I'm afraid for your life. You're gonna be stoned to death for talking to me.
Yeah, like the problem in Yemen. Uh, okay, it's crazy. So in Yemen, they lie to us. There is no science, but everyone believes that if you become gay, you will be weak. Like we don't know that gays work out. Like nobody, like in Yemen, people still like don't know that gays have muscles. And
Oh, so you've seen? Do you have access to the internet? And you see all these gay guys that are all like,
I watch the strongest power lifter gay in Joe Rogan podcast. That was like mind blowing, and he was like, I suck dicks and I'm stronger than everyone. Like,
I mean, Joe Rogan's also an infidel in America, but whatever. It's a whole other conversation.
oh my
This is Joe
god!
Rogan who also this is Joe Rogan who also said that coronavirus wasn't real, or you don't need to be vaccinated, or all kinds of crazy shit. So I just want to clarify that Joe Rogan is a very controversial infidel for many cultures.
Oh, so anyway, coming back, and they tell the kids in Yemen that like if you get like sorry, but if you had sex from the ass, like you will lose everything, your memory, your attention.
Actually, after I have sex in my ass, I am much clearer. I can see through walls.
So I have this bit where I feel like I didn't. So people in Yemen, man, they have G spot in the ass. Like even if you are not gay, you can have the best orgasm from the ass, and that was also
Yeah.
mind blowing. That was mind.
Did you discover your G spot? Did you
Yeah,
discover
that
your?
was another mind blowing. It actually was discovered, was found and discovered by my girl, but that's also like I
Right,
was
but
like, what?
it's you can it's like you can't be like, oh my god, it's in there. There's a whole
And the
thing.
best feeling, like it's like I feel like I say like you have one life, one chance. Like you only have one, like to enjoy it and feel it. It's very,
Yeah,
yeah.
it'll clear up. I mean, it's also in terms of like nerve endings. It's at the base of your spine. It like things in life will make other things in life will make sense after you've had a good anal orgasm. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
and also I had the rugby game. When I left Yemen, I started playing rugby. Like I come out from fucked up place, the war. That was the sport that attracted me. Like I felt home. So one of the games, and at that point I didn't. I still was thinking that yes, if you have sex from the ass, like you will lose attention, be weak, all this lies. And um, we had one game and one of the opponent he was wearing pink socks and shoes, and I was like, this is like easy guy, and he destroyed me. And after the game he was kissing his boyfriend. So me coming out from Yemen, like my mind being programmed, it's weird thing that happens to my body because inside you are programmed and that's how you function and you think. But then
Right.
you see things different. Like this guy, he destroyed me. Then I see the gay guy in Joe Rogan. Then I discover my G spot. Like it's like I don't know how to
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's very different. I mean, it's the funny thing is, it's like if we remove labels of like gay or straight, our bodies can have so much pleasure regardless of the label of whatever you call it. Like we can enjoy ourselves, but there's so many stories and programs that are like no pleasure, no joy, just hide and live in fear, and will control you. And yeah, it's amazing when you can step out and experience something else. Like you said, like your mind was like, what? Where have I been living? How have I been? I mean, I still. Here's the thing. Like, so for me, I still. I mean, it took me. I mean, I came out when I was 14, and uh, there's a whole journey of still like accepting myself, even because I've been told by all the world that there's something wrong with me, right?
You are from this generation as well, who've been
Yeah, I'm not like there are other people that you might meet that are younger that are like that were. I mean, there are kids that are gay or they're trans or they're non-binary or gender non-conforming, and like parents are raising their kids. I mean, in America, where they're like, well, we'll let them decide the parents are like, well, we don't want to put any labels. We'll let them decide who they are whenever they decide who they are. I mean, it's completely different where I grew up and my parents were freaking out when I came out. Um, but I still have, like, when I was younger in New York and I was doing comedy, I was studying fashion design at the Fashion Institute of Technology, which is a very traditionally gay school. It's a lot of gay people at a fashion design school. There were maybe 5 or 6 straight guys. The rest were gay. But we weren't out because of the culture at the time. The big designers were dying of AIDS. So all the young students like us, we didn't want people to think we were gay because people weren't investing in, were afraid to put millions of dollars to create a new designer or hire a designer who's male and gay because they would die. So you don't want to put, $10 million to launch some gay man's designer clothing line if they're going to die in a year. So we were all like, okay, no one's going to know we're gay. I mean, everyone is on fire. I mean, we're so gay at school, but we're like, no one's out, or
Oh
some
my
people were out, but others were not
God.
out. Crazy. It was crazy.
Oh my
So
God.
it's so different from that generation till now. There's TV shows where all these designers are gay. There's gay people helping straight people, Queer Eye. I was on the early. Did you know what Queer Eye for the straight guy is? Have you seen that show? You haven't. I mean, probably
You
not in
know,
Yemen.
so many shows after talking to you.
Right, right. Now well, there's a new show, a new version of Queer Eye for the straight guy. It's just called Queer Eye. It's on Netflix. I don't know if you can watch that even in Cyprus or definitely not in Yemen. I don't think you'll be able to see Yemen. But there was the original version I was on back in 2004, where there's 5 gay guys that help straight guys dress better, comb their hair, clean their apartment, and decorate, and then make them presentable to the world. But they have a newer version of that is happening now. God, 16, 17 years later. But I was on one episode back in the olden days, and that was like this revolutionary idea. And now, oh yeah, in America, but now it's funny. America is so far forward, but also in Florida, you can't say gay in the grade schools. It's going backwards. Like they're not. It's illegal. They passed a law in Florida where they're not allowed to talk about They can't talk about homosexuality. If a child asks, they can't talk about it.
What they tell that child?
Uh,
Children.
uh, any children in grade school can't. If someone in school is like, oh, what are those? Like, they can't ask a question about what
Wait,
gay.
from what age to what age? Because I don't know how grade
Oh,
school.
from zero to I don't know, 12 or 15. You can't talk. And basically, in the schools of Florida, you can now not mention homosexuality.
But
So,
what do you think is the like the right age for kids to start talking about sexuality for
well,
guys and girls?
well,
What do
I
you think?
mean, what's the right age to talk about any sexuality? Like, when kids see a man and a woman, that's a sexual relationship. So a mom and dad, that's a sexual relationship. The mom and dad have sex and they make babies and they have children, right? That's heterosexuality. Um,
No,
but you
but
don't have,
sorry, but
but you don't,
I
you don't have to explain. You don't have to explain to children that this a penis goes inside a vagina.
okay.
The kids are too young to know about that, but
Yes.
there's a way to speak about that that's appropriate for a 5-year-old or a 8-year-old, 10-year-old. The challenge that they're doing in Florida now is like, what if there's 2 gay men or 2 lesbians that have children, and they're sending them to school? They show up at at a school event, and there's 2 dads or 2 moms, and now the kids can't talk about it. Like it's right there, or a child can't say they have two whatever gay parents at home because you're not allowed to talk about it. They don't have to talk about my dad sticks his penis inside my other dad. They're just like, these are my parents. There's this, you know, uh, if statistically 10% of children are gay, That's you're going to cause harm to a lot of people. I mean, also people that are friends with gay people or others, anyone, a child that might be perceived to be gay. People might think they're gay just because they're not hyper masculine or presenting a certain way, or a woman, a girl that's not very feminine. They might also discriminate against them because they don't conform to some idea. I mean, there are plenty of straight people that aren't all soccer stars or boxers, and they're straight, but they might not be as athletic. I don't know. It just creates a lot of danger.
Yeah,
It creates danger that doesn't need to exist.
yeah. Because I would think that yes, like kids, they should like know that yeah, there is a relationship between man and women, and there is relation. You could be in relationship with another man, but not like then they shouldn't know about, because the kids they go to the school and there is women and there is girls and boys. So maybe like I don't know. Do you think what age kids start feeling for other kids? Like as a for example,
I
kid
mean,
that
look,
likes boys.
I was 4 years old when I had attraction to other boys, but I didn't know the word for it. I didn't know what it was. I also wasn't fucking other boys when I was 4. I was just like there was a repairman in my house fixing the freezer, and I came home from school, I guess, and I saw him, and I just felt excited, and I was like, I didn't understand what was happening. I was just
Wow.
and I went upstairs. I put on my pajamas. I don't know why. And then I got a bottle of root beer, like soda, like a beverage. Not, it wasn't alcohol. It was just like a.
Yeah.
Do you have Coca Cola in Yemen?
No.
No, but like
Infidels drink.
infidels drink Coca Cola. Well, there's like sweet drinks with it's like water with honey and it
Yeah.
bubbly, whatever. But
Yeah.
they, we drink. So I just brought this down to him, and
Nice.
I didn't do anything. I just was like trying to be friends and be close. But I remember this feeling in my body, like, oh, I'm just uh, tingly, which
Wow.
I didn't know what that meant. But
Wow.
kids have some kind of awareness. I mean, so other people I've dated, other men I've dated, that they didn't know till they were like 20, or 25.
That's
They
crazy.
pushed it under. They might have felt feelings, but they were afraid to recognize that.
I'm sorry. What about did they have sex with other women and then they realized that's weird. Like when a gay
Yeah.
person has sex with other, because what I'm thinking about is like scientifically there are gay men in Yemen. There cannot be the whole population straight, and
No.
the whole population are married to women. So I'm trying
Right.
like from gay like viewpoint, how would it look like to marry the women and you are gay? Is like, are you like oppressing yourself, hurting yourself? Like,
Yeah, I've dated guy. I dated a guy. Oh my gosh, how many years ago? He was married to a woman, had 2 children. He raised them, and he was still having sex with his wife throughout his, you know, till he was like 50 something years old, and but he knew he was curious about men, but he was like, well, now what do I do? I have a cat, I have a wife, and I have children. I have to raise my kids. I can't just go be gay. So he just raised them until they were in college, and then I guess at that point, I think he got, I think his wife found his porn or something, and then it was time to get divorced. But like he still stayed and took care of his kids until they finished college, and then he went off and did his, and he dated me and fucked everyone else in New York. You know. I told him, I said, I really love you. I really want to be with you. And he's like, I just got here. I mean, you've been gay since you
wow,
were, I came out when I was 14, and I was, meeting
wow,
men. And I mean, I was, I guess, dating I wasn't really dating at 14, but I was aware of who I was. I wasn't pretending, you know. I mean, I did kiss another guy when I was 14. It was amazing. You know, when you're 14, that's a lot. Kissing is a lot. So I didn't. I was also still raised Catholic, so I still had these basic. You know, there are people that have sex with anyone are infidels. In my Catholic religion, that's bad, right? You have to be married. So I was gay, but I was Catholic, and in my head, I'm like, well, I'm gonna wait till I'm gonna save myself for marriage till I really have sex. That's what I thought at age 14. You know, this is old school, olden world. I mean, not as old as Yemen, like you can't even begin.
Yeah,
But
that.
in my mind, that was my religious and moral value at the time of like, I'm gonna wait and I'm not gonna have sex with another man until we have a commitment and we
Yeah.
get married. You know, I mean, I came to New York and it changed. You know, I was like,
Wow, so you're okay, but it's like I don't know, maybe even this is wrong, but some people think that gays have more sex with each other. They are like they just okay, let's fuck. They don't. It's even easier. I don't know. I'm asking. Maybe like
yeah, yeah. No,
I'm
you're being very polite. You're being very polite, and I appreciate that. I think it's not necessarily a gay thing, but it's a male thing because
Oh,
men don't have. There's also a power structure, right?
okay,
Women,
okay.
if
I
women
got
have
it.
sex, if women have sex, they're damaged, they're bad, they're less. Men can have all the sex they want. There's nothing wrong with it, gay or straight, right? Although women might say, "Oh, that guy's a womanizer, he's a player," but for gay men, it's like we don't have any women in our sexual I don't say any, but like I guess most gay men are not sleeping with lots of women. But we can sleep with other men and nobody cares. I mean, there's also I'm not saying it's just we just oh, I'm a gay, I'm just going to fuck people, but there's because we're also oppressed, there's shame around being who we are. So we can't have it. We don't get to have a we don't get to grow up in grade school and high school dating people normally. Like you don't we have a thing called prom, which is like a formal event where everyone in high school a boy takes a girl, she gives her a flower, they all dress up and they go to this formal dance. And
Wow.
everyone does that in high school. It's a big deal. So when you're 14, 15, 16, 17, every year it's a big deal and everyone socially celebrates that. You know, and if someone's going steady, they celebrate. The people are boyfriend and girlfriend, they celebrate. But nobody celebrates you being gay. No one says, "Oh, it's so nice you're a boy and you like other boys." Yay. No. So you don't get to you don't get to grow up. You don't get to experiment and evolve and grow. You have to hide and then someday you're like a sling, you know what a slingshot is when you pull that rubber and then it goes it's like you just have to you pull it and then finally when you can be gay you're like well let's just fuck you know because we don't have time we don't have the socialization where we can just meet men and date.
Okay, but that sorry. So now, does that make it hard for gays to stay like within couple, like only two in the relationship? Like imagine, like so
I
now,
think well
yeah.
I think there's a bunch of things too because we don't have any kind of modeling in society. We don't you have Beyonce or I don't know Princess Diana. Like you have these famous straight couples, and you see what they you watch them on TV and the news. There's no famous gay couples that stay together or live. We have no even myths or like you know I don't know. I want to say like Cinderella, and then the prince comes. There's no like this prince meets this other king, and they both become boyfriends, and they live happily ever after. We never see that story, right?
Oh,
It's not taught to us that men could ever have a relationship. So when we fuck, we're like, well, fuck. Well, who cares? And we have to like, we get to. Well, in a way, it's freedom, and that we don't have to follow any rules because we haven't been given any. But we also aren't valued as people, or our relationships aren't valued. Like when my partner died from COVID, I don't I think you know that my
yes, I'm sorry for that.
a year ago he died. It's not everyone. I mean, my friends valued it, but society doesn't see his family might not have valued me in the same way. because I mean, there's a lot of I'm not saying but his family had their own issues of grief and however,
Yeah.
but it's just the loss of a same-sex partner is not necessarily valued as much
Oh, I
as
got you.
like we're not.
Your
I
emotions,
consider it valued.
your emotions are not valued.
Right, right. The relationship we had may not be thought of as important or as
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
real
yeah.
as a gay relationship. I mean, my friends all think of us as valuable, but you
But
know,
the
it,
society.
society may not, or it's
Wow,
just well, you weren't married, so how can you be sad? You
wow.
know, all these different things. I mean, there's a lot of it's more complex than that, but I think also, as gay men, it's hard to value myself. I didn't. It's been a journey to feel like I matter, a journey to say that what I want is just as important as what straight people want. Like as a comedian, I grew up with people. Like my first paid gig, I was the only gay person. I mean, this is billions of years ago, but like the two comics that went up before me were like one was like a Andrew Dice Clay knockoff, and one was like Eddie Murphy knockoff, and they said horrible things about women, like I slapped her, I kicked her in the
Yeah.
vagina, and the audience was like woo, going crazy. And in those days, you could make jokes about harming women, and people would laugh.
Mm.
Today, you would say that, and people would want to cancel you. But I get on stage and one of the guys. I mean, I didn't say anything like sexual. I just said, "Hey guys, how's it going?" But I didn't open with like punch the bitch in the face. So they were like, so they're like, "Oh, this guy's weak." So one guy just said he says, "Get off the stage, faggot," and he grabs a chair to like try to like hit me with it, right? And
Ah,
in the mentality, I think it was mostly men, if not all men in the room. If one guy says kill the F word, the gay person, um, the whole room has to agree and say, yes, kill the gay person, because if you don't, that means you're gay too. And that would be, they would want to beat you up. I mean, it's this crazy mentality. It's not healthy, it's not kind, but it's what happens in a mob of people, of men. And if one man yells out, because it's the biggest insult is to say that you're gay. It's the weakest. The way to call a man the least valuable, weakest man is to call them gay. So if this guy's trying to kill me and hit me with his chair, everyone else has to get on board. So they're all going, yeah, kill the F word, kill the gay person, you know. And I'm on stage and I'm like red and I'm trying to like tell jokes, but I'm scared. I didn't know this would ever happen, much less in this room where there's all these people. I'm like, and I remember sort of moving, and I don't think he got close to hitting me with the chair, but he was trying to make it look like he was going to hit me. It's hard to know emotionally. I can't tell what's happening because it's just so scary. And I remember I couldn't tell what happened, but I know I finished, and I turned to the booker to get my money, and I ran down the fire escape, and just out the building.
wow.
And I never talked about it. I was so scared. Like that was because in those days you could assault a gay person and nobody would care. I mean, now if someone did that, people still are doing that. It's still not safe for gay people in America. It's not like we can just walk around. I have a friend on Facebook today. He just said someone assaulted him on the street, and he's like, he's a big guy. He's not. I wouldn't say flamboyant. He could pass for like he's very
Wow.
muscular too, but shit happens. Crazy people do crazy shit, and it's still dangerous to be gay in America, even though it's safer now than it was, 30 years ago when that happened. But yeah, so I
Okay, but what I want to ask you is, do you feel that now, if, for example, you have kids and you can not make them go through what you've been through, so you can bring another generation, like, do you think that gays should consider having kids So, or I don't know, like I feel like this, like so. Then you have generation that their mind is has less trauma than the generation.
Right. I mean, I think people should have children if they want to have children, gay or straight. I don't want gay people like go forth and have kids, right? Like, but they don't. I don't want to have kids. I don't care. You're gay. You better have kids. We're never going to resolve this world until gay people all have kids. I mean, just like there are straight people that have kids that should not be having children. Like they don't want them. They don't know how to be nurturing. Then don't do it. But I think that any gay people that want to have a family and want to have children, do it. You know, it's not my calling. I don't feel like, but also it's not on the gay people
Mm.
to educate straight people how to treat
That's
them,
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? It's not our job to I mean we have an opportunity to but that's a lot of work. That's like telling white people telling black people that were slaves in America to help white people not be racist. Like the white people have to do the work. It's not the people of color's job to make white people behave in a healthy way.
Yeah, I got, but I feel like there should be like some programs where like educate kids, some movies for kids that they don't show people having sex like in the ass, but like educate people that you, and also any gays that wanna have kids, they have to give the kid salary and give his parents 1,000 each month. That's how we grow the next generation. Let's go.
Subsidized gay parenting.
Yeah,
Like
like
we're setting up gay colonies. It's like homesteading in America. We just go here. You go further, go far away from the cities, and go. We'll give you land. We'll give you children, and we'll give you a house. Now go grow your gay family. No, I think that's a great idea to subsidize, but um, I think really, all joking aside, I think it's visibility and permission, and for people to talk about it. Like what they're doing in Florida is going to create more problems because now you're saying the government is now saying gay is bad because you can't talk about it, and that's the problem. Like if people just were allowed to live, and you see, oh, there's a two gay men living down the street, and they have a foster child or an adopted or a surrogate or whatever. They're raising a family, and they can see like, oh, there's because there are a lot of schools here in where I am that gay parents are have kids and they just are living their lives and they show up at school events, and that's just
yeah,
normal.
yeah. I got what I wanted to tell you is like the problem with the government is that they are humans, and also there are like maybe now the governor in Florida is someone who is fucked up, or maybe he has wrong idea about gays or the way he grew up or the people that's around.
Yeah.
So now they make wrong decision. Like the government always make wrong decisions, and it happened that in Florida the wrong decision is about gays. Maybe in Texas or in New York, there is people that they are oppressed with some government decisions. So it's really weird, and that's why like I want to take it with you to another. Sorry, first let me ask you, for how many more minutes can you stay?
Oh, yeah, I can go. I can go.
Okay,
I
I like
don't
it.
have. Okay.
So, like, what do you think? Like, who we are? What's the government like? Because everyone has belief. Like Muslims, if you talk with Muslim person, he will say, "I'm here. There is God called Allah, and we're gonna go to heaven or hell." Um, and then you talk with someone from India, it's like totally different. You talk with someone from the US, it's totally different belief, totally different, like, and nobody knows the truth. Like, there is no guarantee who we are, like, who I am really, that I can now stand up and go, but who really I am. And also, like, we know that the water is water, it's oxygen and but what is it like? Where did it come from? Or like there are
Right.
two. So what's your theory?
Well, here's the thing. Like, I don't know. If I knew, I would have all the answers. But I think you could ask 100 different gay people, and they'll have 100 different opinions too, or 100 different Americans have. There's so many different religions and belief systems in America. I mean, as you know, you maybe see on the news with America, we were very divided around COVID. Like some people thought COVID was real, others people didn't. People didn't want masks. People did want masks. Like some people were like against vaccines. Like other countries can't even get vaccines, and in America we're like, we don't want that. Like people are. I mean, my partner died because he didn't get a vaccine. Like we didn't have them yet, and he got COVID and died. So like, there is something strange about the freedom of belief in America. Like I want that, but here's what happens when you're allowed to believe anything. You don't have to believe science. You could just say there is no such thing as COVID, and that these vaccines are all whatever, microchips and and there's all sorts of crazy stuff. So, for me, I think that the idea of what America is, I appreciate that people can have different beliefs and values and religions, and that my idea is like that we can all live together and coexist without making other people oppressing other people. Like my being gay does not oppress conservative Christians, but some conservative Christians feel very threatened by a gay person, getting married to another gay person. It's just because they think that they own this institution of marriage, that only they decide what it is. But the government here has said you can be married in any state in America and you will have the same legal rights and protections as a straight couple. So that's amazing. But at the same time, in Florida, you can't say the word gay in a grade school now because of this law they passed. So it's a strange because the powers are also given to each state has its own sovereignty. Well, we'll see if it does. I don't know. We'll find out if this law is passed if that's really going to stay. I don't know, but each state does have some sort of dominion over what it can do to some level. I don't know how you enforce that, but to come back to me, I think I think your idea of like giving money to gay couples to have children is sounds crazy. It sounds great, but I'm also like, what would happen in this country? The conservatives would come out and firebomb gay people's new houses that they got from their government grant. I mean, people would be protesting that shit. Um, but I think that's a great idea because the other idea, and I don't want to make a joke of it, but like what you're saying is sort of like rainbow or gay reparations because gay people have been oppressed. They need to be repaired. It needs to be given funding from the
Yeah.
government to restore. Because equality means we all get equality would mean everyone gets $100, but equity means that the people that are really poor get $10,000. The people that are rich don't need any money. Like it's
Believe
to
in
balance that
equity.
because equity is like if one person is only like if a person is really wealthy and rich, they're like they say they're 10 feet tall. They can see over this fence that's 8 feet tall, but the other people that are only 3 feet or 2 feet tall, they need a bunch more boxes to stand on so they can see over and get over the fence, right? That's what equity is like we have to help others to you know overcome barriers to success. The other model is just get rid of the wall so people can all just go forward. But that's not how this country has been set up. There's all these economic barriers. There's social barriers. There's, you know, race. We're not going to solve the inequalities that are happening in America are going to be here for a while. I mean, we talk about diversity and inclusion, but we're still very far from it. I mean, we're not like, I guess, Yemen. I don't know. I can't speak for Yemen. I have never lived there. I don't have a lived experience of the Yemenis like you have. But the way you speak of it, I sort of laugh like that sounds crazy. But even here, it sounds crazy to think that half of this nation, or I don't know, 10% of this nation doesn't believe there was or is
Yeah,
a pandemic. Like, how is that possible?
yeah,
But that's because of freedom of belief and the internet. You can find any information you want and any website you want to support any belief you have. And if not, you can make a website and make that your belief, and then spread it, and someone's gonna get on board, even if it's not real. Even if it can't be proven, it's the people can still believe it.
yeah. Okay. Let's talk about this. And first of all, let me give you. I love to give people more information about Yemens just to make them feel it more. One more information is the electricity. It's on in Yemen every like 10 minutes a day. So 10 minutes of electricity. It's like, so in this 10 minutes, I don't know, invest it. You want to invest it on your phone or in your laundry or you can, and
Oh my god!
there is no watching Netflix or watching I don't know what, like that's too far. So I feel like Netflix, they have like zero sell in Yemen. I was like,
So how did you find the internet? You're in Cyprus. When did you start using the
yeah.
internet?
What? I mean, like that's a funny question to ask someone who's like 23 or someone young, that the internet's been there since almost they are born. So in Yemen, when I was young, like let's say 10 years ago, you go to shop and they have computer and you use that computer, like you look to. So now in like in Yemen, the internet, it's like they have, I don't know, it's fucked up. I started using the internet like in Yemen, but it was better before the war because there were electricity for like maybe 4 hours, 5 hours a day before the war. With the war, 15, 10 minutes. Anyway, it's already messed up from before. But
Wow.
I feel like as I say, like in Yemen, anyone can open business and watch it burn. That's any natural. But okay, I want to talk with you about the vaccines. So I am not uh, with any side. I like to do my job by just observing more and understanding people view. So I think that the vaccines helps people really not to get so like not to get so sick, and I think that old people who are not so healthy, like I feel like the vaccines are like like hard work. That's why I believe in science and lab, not by God, because it gives value for. But my only issue is there are people who they take vitamins every day. They take fish oil. They go to the doctor because most people are also getting COVID because their vitamin D is low. They don't have, and these people they are like the government tell me to take the vaccine. I'm not taking the vaccine. You are. It's not that the government told you to take the vaccine or no. You have no vitamin D in your body. You're gonna die. But there are this small group of people who they take, and that's why I feel like when the government tell people what to do, people who needs it really, they make it seems like it's fight between them and the government. Like there are old people that don't want to take the vaccine and they're like, I have big balls. No, you don't have big balls. Maybe your mind in your balls, or I don't know if I
Right,
can say
right,
it.
right.
But my issue is with people who go to they check their vitamins. All their vitamins are up. And they are afraid if they take the vaccine to have any side effect, or they are also afraid from the long term because the long term is not guaranteed yet. So this is my only issue. This small amount, the 5%, are being forced to take it. That's my question. That's my only concern. And I
Well,
would
I
like
don't
to
know.
know.
Are people being forced to take the? Where are they being
I
forced?
mean, what I mean by being forced, like you could lose your job if you
Mm.
don't take it. You cannot go to the restaurants. You cannot go to the gym. in a way your life, it's also like when your friends are like, you need friends, you need to socialize. So imagine you cannot even meet your friends outside or eat
Right.
out because
Right. Yeah, yeah, it's tricky. I mean, of course, I live in New Jersey, which is not the same as New York. In New Jersey, there were never requirements. Like, people just doing whatever. Like in New York, if you want to go to a comedy club, well, it might be different now because things are changing. But if you wanted to go to a Broadway show and see a musical, do you know what musicals are? I don't know.
I saw them in the internet.
Oh,
Not
okay,
in real
okay.
life.
I'm just checking if you know like do you know what a theater is? Okay. I just don't know what the baseline of like information is. Uh, I'm like, have you heard of glasses? Do you know what do you have? Do you drink with glasses for water? Uh, being silly. Um, but if you wanted to see one of these big Broadway shows, you had to be vaccinated and you had to have a mask the whole time because you have 1,000 people in a theater and also all these people on stage. It's like risky, right? And people they were doing it and people were still getting COVID. Like in the cast, they had to cancel the show. It was really hard because it was spreading. Um, in the state of New Jersey, nothing. You don't have to be vaccinated. You don't have to wear a mask. There's just nothing. And other states like Texas, or further south, they're much less interested in any of that. I mean, in New Jersey, there were some situations like if you were on any kind of federal, like a train or on a subway or on a bus or on a plane, you had to wear a mask, but you didn't have to be vaccinated,
Yeah.
right? I mean, there were jobs like if you worked in a hospital, you would lose your job if you weren't vaccinated. Like, I'm sorry, you work in a hospital, people are spreading germs.
Yeah, you
It's kind of like then don't fucking work in a hospital. Like, it's sort
work
of
in casino.
right, right. If you're against gambling, why are you working in a casino? Like, I don't know, but
Yeah.
because they need to make money somehow. Fine, but just
Anyway.
that's kind of like it's like if you're like, why are people laughing in this comedy club? I can't stand laughing. Well, don't go to a comedy club. People are there to laugh. If you're going to a hospital, people are there to use science and vaccinations, and surgeons wear masks all the time to protect themselves and the people they work on. So that's kind of a given.
But
But
I feel like things are messed up. So I wanna know what about what you like to like. What's something delicious to you? What you enjoy eating? Like something that makes you like go crazy, like orgasm. How do you say?
oh, I mean, this is like junk food, but like French fries. You know what French? Do you have French fries?
Yeah.
Fried potatoes.
We only boil the potatoes in water. That's like our French fries. But I know
Oh,
it's French
you
fries.
don't. You've never had a fried like an oil and
So to
like.
be honest, in Yemen, there are like I would say like 40% of the population who still like don't know about putting it in oil. They still just put the potato in water. They don't know about
Ah.
cutting it, like the way you cut it.
I like it's very basic. So that's something that's like I don't eat it often, but I love it. But it's like it's bad for you. Like it's a bad food.
So
It's
you
good
like
that you're
French
boiling.
fries? Yeah.
Yeah. Um, chocolate chip cookies. I'm also vegan, so that's a whole other kind of. I might be considered an infidel, but I'm vegan. I don't eat any plants. I don't eat any animal material. I don't eat meat. I don't eat blood. I don't eat eggs. I don't eat dairy. You know,
Oh my
I'll suck
God.
a dick, but I don't swallow it. I don't. Sorry. I mean, I have swallowed, so I
That's
guess
not vegan.
maybe I'm not vegan. Maybe that's not vegan, but it's not. It's not. It's not cruel to animals. It's actually being nice to another
Yeah, you
animal.
didn't harm the animal. You
I
actually
didn't
did
harm.
something. That's the only way you can be vegan and like eat something based animals. That's the
Right,
only
right, right. That and maybe
that's
breast milk. I don't
allowed.
know. Yeah, yeah.
Good.
Um, I don't know. I'm trying to think now.
You know what's
Tofu,
weird?
tofu pad thai. No, tofu pad thai is delicious to me. Or like, do you know what pizza is? Have you
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
of? So, but in Chicago, there's a style of pizza that's really thick. Like, there's flat pizza with a flatbread, but in Chicago, the bread is like it's like
You
I
make
can't
me
even.
hungry.
It's so big. Chicago style pizza is like, it's like three penises of pizza. That's how good it is. I'm like, oh my god, it's so good.
You should be in pizza advertisement. You really moved my stomach a little bit. You know, I feel like I've been complaining about Yemen and my dad, so I will tell you one benefit. So in Yemen, we don't have donut and so I feel like more 10 minutes and we can be done because
Okay.
also I have to.
You have 10 more minutes of electricity in Cyprus.
No. Cyprus is good. So what I wanted to tell you is, my dad thought that chocolate has something with pork to do with pork, like they use some material. So I never eat chocolate. We don't have donut. We don't have like burger or this processed food because like we think this is infidels like food.
Yeah.
Like we still don't have science or to make process and nice food. We still basic. So we think that this food is for infidels and we don't eat it. Like my sweets are dates, that's all, and honey. And we also don't have McDonald's, KFC, Pizza Hut, like Taco Bell, because we feel like this is Jewish companies, or I don't know, like belong to Freemason, and they give them
I love it.
and like they would take the McDonald's sign, like McDonald's, they make it yellow to attract people. Yellow makes kids also wanna go. But in Yemen, they're like yellow is what Freemason wear when they go. Like they would make movie dramatic anyway. So these companies they will bomb them if they open in Yemen. Like and the local businesses are controlling because the local restaurants these pay maybe people who are in the mosque and people in the mosque they speak about McDonald's or these companies they make some halal movies so that's how they compete McDonald's in Yemen. They fuck McDonald's up. McDonald's cannot fuck with the Yemeni market. They are too smart. And now I kind of lost the test. Like my cheat meal is oats, milk, honey, and this also sort of honey. I don't know if you know it. I wanted to show you.
Oh no. Free? It's free honey?
No,
No.
it's free. It was like I buy the free and the offers. So all
Oh,
my
okay. But
stuff in the kitchen has this. So the free it was just it belonged to the honey. I bought big bag of
oh,
honey and it was free. But I don't eat McDonald's. I don't eat Pizza Hut. Like I just don't. They are not in my like memory or in my system. Like chocolates are not in my system. Chewing gum are not in my system. Fruits, it's my cheat meal. Like I would eat fruits. I would honey, oats. I don't even take the very chocolatey like cornflakes or oats. Just the basic one with honey is the best cheat meal.
right.
One
Do you have
benefit.
do you have Cheerios? No. You don't have processed cereal, you just have oats, just like regular oatmeal.
Oat, milks and honey.
So like when you say oats, like I have a bag of oats here, so I could like this is like that's oats. You eat
That's
that?
my cheat meal with honey and milk.
Wow, but it's much healthier because we have all this stuff here that's so bad. It's all processed. And well, here's the thing though: when you say honey, for vegans, honey is for infidels because vegans don't eat honey
Wow.
because honey is the enslavement of bees. Because bees aren't giving you their honey; you're trapping them, and you're basically stealing their
Their
food.
shit. It's their shit. Honey
Yeah,
is
it's like if you took all these women that were pregnant and just put a machine on their breast and sucked all their milk out against their will. Said, well, we're just gonna leave these women here and just suck all their milk out and make honey out of it or whatever. It's like you don't have the bees' consent. You put a house together for the bees to live in, and then you keep taking their honey. And they're like, well, they can't stop you, so you know.
I got you. I would say yes, we are like this honey that the P are working and they don't get salary, but I would describe it differently as someone who eats honey would say like it's like we are taking women or slaves and we are sucking their shit because the honey is that you are like the milk, so that's like how people will put the input between it's like we're taking their shit. But yeah, like my dad, he has pee, and I told you like the bee that we feed sugar bring low quality honey, and the bee that we feed like flowers, only
Mhm.
flowers, bring in my jokes I say flowers and steak, but there is no steak, just flowers. but the
Wow,
one
we give
that
them flowers to steak. Yeah, yeah.
but the one that only take organic flowers, the honey is more I don't know, like that's also bullshit of my dad. There is no science, just my dad is like the honey from the flowers is more heavy, it makes you heal faster, it makes you have more sex, and if you are having more sex, take from the honey that the pea eat sugar. Like that was like when you go to my father's shop. That's how he serve
Well,
you.
but if you put honey in your ass and someone fucks you, it's amazing. It's
I
amazing.
thought about it and with straight wait. I thought about it with straight people and we were like that would be the torturing because it's we thought that if you put honey it's like you're gonna torture someone. It's too painful. Or maybe you can wait. You can use the honey that the bee eats sugar because it's more some honey is thick, so the
Yeah,
honey
yeah,
that
yeah.
the pea eats sugar is for okay, that makes sense. My dad could
I don't. I've never done that. I'm just kidding. I was just trying to be silly. You're gonna be sticking honey in your butt later, and your girlfriend's gonna be like, "What is this?" He said it would make it better. Like, I don't. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Don't hurt yourself.
yeah but I feel like sometimes our body uh, get adapt to some things and sometimes it break. So like when you for example maybe want to have sex with honey, your body might adapt to it and like it and add it to the system or it might break. So
I haven't gotten to that point of incorporating honey, but yeah, no, no, I haven't been there. Incorporating a bidet using fresh water to freshen everything up down there. Do you have bidets in Cyprus or
what's the
Yemen?
bidets?
Bidet is like when you sit on the toilet and there's a water shoots up and cleans you.
Okay, now we open another subject. So first of all, in Yemen, we don't have toilet seat. It's like we squat into a hole in the ground. Do
Oh, like
you?
in the Philippines. In the Philippines. Uh huh. Uh huh.
So like when I first left Yemen, I couldn't use the sit toilet. I felt like I couldn't push the, like when you squat, it's easier.
Yeah,
And
yeah, 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 yeah.
so in Yemen, we are healthy. We are like we don't. Our toilets are healthy anyway. That's like being stupid but healthy. So it works.
Well, it's better for your system to
Yeah,
squat than it is to sit on a thing. It's
yeah.
weird.
So in Yemen, that's also one thing why we always make fun about infidels and America. We say like because if you go to public toilet, they only have tissue. Hotels in America, they only have tissue. So we think that people ass stinks, and that's why they use perfume. But in Arabic country, all hotels, or if you go to public toilet or the toilet in the mosque, they have the pipe next to every squat hole. There is
Uh
pipe.
huh.
You take it and you smash with that pipe your ass.
But you smash?
I mean, with the water, like do the job.
Smash is when you do this.
No,
That's a
no,
smash.
no.
Oh,
So,
splash, splash.
splash. Sorry, the wrong place. Splash. So, uh,
I just beat myself with
yeah.
the water.
So that's why we always make fun about. But then when I talk to you and the people in their houses, they do use this. But like if you go to Arabic country, like hotels, mosques, everywhere you cannot find tissue But in America, you can find tissue only.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, but the so my uncle he makes that in Yemen they always splash their ass and 5 times a day because before every prayer we have 5 prayers a day.
Oh, so you have to be
And
fresh. You have to
so
clean.
you splash your day, but the problem with Yemenis is that they don't dry it. So it's you splash 5 times and all the bacteria is there. So they fucked it up. The tissue is bitter.
Oh, or you splash and then you just dab it with the tissue so there's no more
No,
splash.
they don't dab it. They splash and they just go. There is no tissue, no towel.
Wow. So they just so they're
That's
wow.
why I say that people in Yemen, nobody dies from old age. Like they die from bacteria, circumstances in the country because people don't even know how to shower, right? They don't know how to clean the bacteria. Like they still use like 1,400 years ago. Like the Prophet said, if you touch a dog, you need to wash your hand 7 times and one with sand. So we don't have sanitizers. We still like say fuck sanitizers. The Prophet said 7 times and one with sand, and they lie to people. They say that there is research from Oxford University that they try sanitizer and another Muslim try with water 7 times and sand, and they say in the name of Allah, and the research show that the Muslim man is have less bacteria. or
Oh
or
my
fuck
god.
or they say that one person Muslim in Oxford, he drink water and they say in the name of Allah, and another one drink water and didn't say, and it's the same water, but the one that say in the name of Allah, there is less bacteria.
Oh my
And
god.
people believe it. 10 minutes electricity per day. What you gonna watch or what you will search for?
Right, right.
It's
Wow. Wow. Oh my god. That's crazy. So wait, what do you do? What do you do in Cyprus for work then? How do you support yourself?
accountant, and I that's why like I didn't have a normal degree. I cheated in the university, so now like my job sometimes they delay my salary some because I always fuck up, and that's why I say thanks God I didn't go as doctor because I would fuck people organs. But that's why I'm telling you that comedy has to work out and podcast because I feel like I'm better in this. Like I'm having conversation with you, but come see my work. It's like my misery.
Wow, accountant. Okay. Wow, and then where do you live in Cyprus? You live in a house, an apartment with your
Yeah, I
family?
am in Cyprus because of COVID, because it's seasonal country. So COVID destroyed the. There is not too many people coming. There are too many tourists from Russia. With the war, they are not coming. Like they count maybe 30% or something like that. Too many. So I found cheap apartment next to the sea in good complex with swimming pool, and I pay like maybe half the price that I would pay if it's summer or seasonal. So I'm happy with it.
Okay. Okay. Wow. And then you just work as an accountant and then you get on these Zooms. How did you find the comedy Zooms? You just were Google?
So so
You
now
have Google? Is there Google in Cyprus? Are you allowed to use Google? And
okay. Yeah, Cyprus is good. I will tell you how I was introduced to comedy because I didn't know about comedy until I was 20. And so there were one American teacher at my university, and I told him I want to read books. He told me, your English is not good for books. That was like 3 4 years ago. My English was bad to read. So he told me listen to podcast. So I started listening to the Joe Rogan podcast,
oh
and
my God, Joe Rogan! Oh, 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 no!
so wait, so Joe Rogan, I know people don't like him because I think about the vaccines, like he say that his parents should take them. He's like, for me, the problem about the vaccines, nobody knows. Like in 10 years, maybe there will be another ideas, or maybe there will be long-term effect that's positive or negative, and someone will be wrong. I focus on what's good for me. I found out about the gay that they can be power lifters. I listened to him with Elon Musk. His podcast with Elon Musk, I listened to them maybe 30 times just to put it in my mind. I listened to him with like so Joe Rogan podcast, I listened to him and I didn't even know that he's comedian, but it was like my window of access of information because he bring different
Wow.
guests, fighters. So I had no friends. Like for the last 4 years, I listened to all his guests, and I work out with his like. It's just my window. So then I found out that he's comedian from the podcast, but before, my girl, she told me there is comedy. Let's watch Fluffy. And I was like, there is no way I will be comedian. Like I just didn't like comedy when I saw Fluffy. Like it wasn't just my style. But then when I found that Joe Rogan is UFC, he work in the UFC, and I found out that you can be funny and you can be strong. You can like do two things or three things. So that attracted me more. So that's how I found comedy from his podcast, and then just go to Google and search Zoom jokes, get dive in it. And when I first doing comedy, I didn't know what to talk about. I talked about Earth being flat or round and all this. But then people were telling me like, you are from Yemen, talk, be like the fish out of the sea, try to exaggerate and make this. And here I am. And hopefully, yeah, my goal is to get to be a real comedian and be.
Oh, okay, okay. I'll give you a quick little story though. It made me think when you say Yemen so backwards. I was in Egypt, and other gay people I was with had been to Egypt, and Egypt is a very, it's an Islamic state. It's very, and men can't be with women unless you're married.
Yeah.
And so this friend of mine, he was gay that I met on the trip, was like, you know what you do? If you go to the market, the bazaar, the men will say, "Sir, you married?" And you're like, "You have girlfriend?" No. Like, come. And then they take you to the back room, and then they have sex with you because men can't have sex with women because they'll if they're not married, because they'll get your hand cut off, right? So he's like, all these men, they don't identify as gay, they just want to fucking so they just take all the gay people and fuck them when they go there.
Can I follow your story with another story?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
In school in Yemen, or especially in Saudi, it's like you are in jungle as boy because there is no girls in the school. We don't see women. So the weaker, the one that get fucked in the school, the boys. So you need to be a lion. You need to, since you are kid, like you need to be a tiger, or you will get fucked in the because
Wow.
guys are like trying just to put it into any hole, you know.
Right, right, right,
So
right. Because I
that's
don't think, as long as they're the one on top sticking their dick in the hole, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just fuck it. You're not gay. If you are the one receiving the
yes.
penis, that is the problem.
And also in Saudi or Yemen or these countries, if you go with your wife, you have to have marriage certificate, or you cannot rent, or you can like they will like nobody in the US ask you for marriage certificate to rent a hotel or to be with girl in restaurant or in
Restaurant or a hotel.
because in Yemen they don't ask for driving license. In Saudi also like nobody cares. And also our certificates, especially in Yemen, is still with handwriting. Like I get my birth certificate, someone wrote it. And yeah, also you need the marriage certificate. So that's what you need. Like if you are in Yemen, you don't need driving license, you don't need vaccines pass, or you need your marriage certificate.
Right. You just have to have a marriage license so you can be next to a person of the opposite sex.
Yeah.
Wow, I love it. That's a good joke. There was a joke in there of like,
No, I'm sure I will listen to this podcast, and I think I have too many premises and punchlines. So I will.
yeah, yeah. That alone, it's like we don't have a vaccine pass. We don't even have a driver's license. All you need is a marriage license, and then you could get, yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. I really love having you here, and just from the beginning, when I saw you in the Hail Mary Zoom, I was like, I just fall in love, and I wanted to have you here. And I'm so thankful that you accept the invitation. You come here. You did an amazing conversation. I enjoyed it so much. So
Oh, me
you don't
too.
know how much I'm thankful for you.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad. You know, better than honey. Better than honey in the bus.
So hope you say that you are in New York, in Manhattan.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't
Oh,
know, but
Jersey City. My property's in Manhattan. I
yeah,
have another property here in Jersey City, which is across the water from Manhattan.
yeah, I have so much faith that I will not be accountant. I will lose my job, and hopefully I will be comedian. And I have so much faith that I will see everyone in person. Hopefully, if we are
Oh,
still alive.
good.
So
Good.
you are one of them, and I would like to thank you again and again. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so thankful to do this with you.
Okay, God bless you. I hope to see you in the other open mics. Take care.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I will. Okay.
Bye bye. Thank
Okay,
you.
bye, Muad. Thank you.